The River Slot Casino Games Bonus Special. Introducing the in-house special where you can get not one, not two, but 3 times bonus for your first, second, and third deposit. But you've got to be in-house seated and playing. Bonus ranges from 5% to 25% for each deposit. Minimum deposit, $20. For more information, call 668-2576. Rules and regulation applies.
So the other day, I bounced upon this friend who may have seen a long time, hug up, hey, how you doing? Long time I see you. And all that, right? Then they say, let me go vibes now, I feel kind of hungry. I'm like, vibes on a Monday? Really? Anyway, when I reach over there, they got some kind of seafood madness thing going on. I'm like, wait, what? On all the menu, grilled Caribbean lobster, snapper, conchs, whelks, for the back, whole of filet snapper, filet grouper, smoked marlin, shrimp kebabs, fish soup, conchs chowder, seafood salad. I was like, but since when are you doing this? I only know I for partying. The man said, quite a while now. And if you want to make reservations, you call 465-8423. But he said, you could walk in too, that ain't no problem. So me order some whelks, a lobster, and some shrimps. My friend ordered this smoked gourmet marlin burger. Boy, it look fresh and juicy. A snapper and a conch chowder. So we there talking, catching up and so on. Next thing she say, you could pay for me, I forget me pass. So you know I waste me gas, spend me money, and not even a case. But the only thing I could say, boy, the food was nice. And I know where to go on Mondays when I want seafood. Vibes Beach Bar, Monday Seafood Madness from 6 until 9.
Looking for authentic and delicious Indian cuisine fine dining? Check out Tiranga Restaurant at Frigate Bay in the Royal St. Kitts Plaza. Come and experience the cozy ambience and enjoy our traditional Indian dishes. Opening hours are 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., Monday to Sunday. For reservation, call 661-8812 or 662-5846. Prefer the beach setting with a relaxed, open atmosphere? Then, Zanzi Beach Bar on the Strip is the place to be. Come and enjoy great Indian and continental food. Sip on your favorite cocktail as the sun goes down. Join us for a Friday Night Live. It's a party always waiting to happen. Saturday and Sunday, opening hours are 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Tuesday to Thursday with extended hours on the weekend.
Opinions and statements made by the host and participants in this program are not those of the owners, advertisers, and management company of Sugar City FM 90.3. Nor are such statements necessarily supported or endorsed by the owners, managers, or advertisers of the station. While we encourage all to share their opinions, we do not support any comments that may slander, discriminate, or otherwise offend anyone, and we insist that you refrain from any such statements.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar City 90.3 for Fear No Favor.
Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to sugarcityfmstkits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as Newrish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear No Favor. Every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM.
Good evening and welcome to Fear No Favor. I have a special guest with me this evening in the person of Michelle Liebert, and we are going to be talking netball from now until the end. 2 hours worth of netball talking. We might not be able to fill that ocean void that we have in terms of information and education and making people more confident with the move to put some energies back into our netball. Michelle, welcome to Fear No Favor.
Thank you so much for having me.
She's soft voice when she chooses to do that. I would have stayed from my home in Greenland and hear her voice in Market Street so many times. And it moved the netball court. So we're going to lift up that voice tonight.
Okay.
Michelle, tell me about how early did you get into netball?
From grade 4 at the Newtown Primary School. That's when I started. We had no choice. Every Thursday, if I remember correctly, it's netball or tennis, and they will alternate each week. You go netball this week, you go tennis the following week. So that's when I started.
And what caused you to sustain that love for netball?
Maybe it's the high of winning. Maybe it's the people that I get to meet, the networking that comes with it. Later on, I was able to benefit heavily from netball, getting a scholarship to further my studies. So I think it's a combination of all those things.
So you went from, sorry.
Go ahead.
You went from primary school, and you went Newtown Primary School?
Newtown Primary School.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yes.
How you get that outer zone? How you got up by Newtown Primary School?
What happened is my mother used to work at Simaco. I actually started in convent school, but I did just a term, and then my mother took me and my brother to
Steve.
Yeah, Steve Liebert to Newtown School. It was right next to her work, so I don't know if that's how she was able to pull some strings to get us up there, but that's where we went.
Because for that situation, you will have to fill out the outer zone application form. And you went from there to Bastia High, Bastia Junior High,
Bastia High. I think that was the same year they changed.
They changed it over.
Yes.
That first farmers were now integrated into.
Right.
And what was the program like at Bastia High School?
Netball, it was the same program in terms of how committed the school was to sports and so on. But as a student, you had a choice. No one actually forced you. It wasn't compulsory to do sports like it was in primary school. But I knew I'm going to do my netball straight through. So that's why I continued.
So first form, second
I
form.
went straight through.
They had coaches at the schools?
Yes, and luckily for us, we had Miss Jillian Archibald. She was assigned to the Newtown Primary School then, and she was also assigned to Bastia High. So it was just a continuation for us who were fortunate enough to left from Newtown School and went to Bastia instead of Washington Archibald, where we would have had to change coaches.
Very, very interesting. What position you played mainly through those years?
But it's very interesting. I actually started out as a defender. My very first position was wing defender in Newtown School. I remember when I got to high school, still playing defense, and there was a game that we were playing. I don't remember the team. And Miss Archibald came. We were losing. And Miss Archibald came at that time, and she pulled aside me and my friend Shamada, who was also on the team, and she said, one of you all are more experienced. One of you are going to have to go in and shoot. And I volunteered. So it was from then, and I guess the performance from that game was good enough for me to maintain playing goal attack throughout high school and throughout the national teams. But interestingly enough, again, the very first position I played when I made the national under-23 team, the very first game we played, I played center.
Center? Wow. That's quite a diversity of positions.
Yes.
Oh. So where are you playing now when you do play?
I play goal attack. Goal attack, goal shooter.
Let us look at the netball court.
Right.
I was looking at a layout today. I think Australia was going to play against England. By the way, who won the World Cup?
It was Australia. Australia won.
England?
Yes.
So Australia, England, and then Jamaica, and then New Zealand? Yes. We'll come back to that because we really want to know why we just cannot reach those levels.
Right.
Now tell us about the netball court.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 7 players?
7 players,
7
correct.
players. Tell me about it.
Okay, so the unique thing about netball in comparison to other sports is that you really need all your players to make the game go. There are restrictions. Anybody can't just go anywhere on the court. So your goal shooter cannot pass the first transverse line. Your goal attack cannot pass the second transverse line. And it's the same thing for your defenders as well.
It's a transverse, like you're talking about the third, this third, first third, second
Right,
third.
right.
Yeah, final
Right.
third. Okay.
Your center is the only one who can run the entire court. However, there is the semicircle, which you must shoot from. They cannot enter that semicircle.
Usually, would we see centers taking a chance and shooting sometime?
No,
Too far?
no.
Centers are not supposed to shoot?
They're not supposed to shoot. Only two persons can shoot. That's the goal attack or the goal shooter.
So is it an illegal move if the center shoots?
If the center shoots and the ball comes through the ring, you just continue playing as normal.
They don't count the goal?
No, it's not counted.
So it's only the goal attack and the goal
Right,
shoots
only-
opposed.
Correct. So
That-
you
that's-
need true teamwork in order to win.
Do you have a designated goal shoot and goal attack? Could you change it during a game
Yes.
and put on the marker on somebody else's back?
Yes, a lot has been changed with the rules. If a goal shooter, for example, calls a timeout, they have to leave the court. So someone else has to come on to fill that position. Whether you let someone else come on and you change up your team, whether you have you want to put your goal attack in now to shoot and that new player come on and play the goal attack, you can do that. But once a timeout is called, you have to go off.
Where would somebody call a timeout? To get attention, some personal attention,
Injury, it could be strategy by the team. Any of those things. It could be deliberate just to break the momentum of the other team. So these are some of the reasons why there are timeouts.
Are there times when the clock stops? At what time?
Yes, if there is, for example, if the umpire is disciplining a player, the clock stops. Let's say the ball happens to go far out of court, the clock will stop for that. But ordinarily, it's a running clock.
Is there a time of possession which you must get the ball up to the goal shooter or the goal attack? Because I saw Jamaica trying to run down the clock, and he had about 4 of them there in a rectangle, just passing it around, trying to
Right.
burn time. Is that an accepted strategy? Is
Yes.
it against the law or the game?
No, it's not. It's not against the netball rules. There's no shot clock like there is in basketball. So a team can take as many passes before they score a goal.
What's the difference between a goal attack and a goal shoot?
How I see it, I always say the goal attack is the assistant shooter. Your goal shooter is supposed to be the main person. Your goal attack is like a backup to help. At the end of the game, usually your goal shooter is supposed to score more goals than your goal attack. That is your main shooter. And that's the best way I can put it. And your goal attack as well assists with the attack, bringing down the ball to the shooter.
How far down the goal attack could go? Which third? The
Cannot
second
pass
third?
Cannot pass the second third.
The goal shoot would have to stay within the first third?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a game that it's not an easy game, and that is
not.
why I feel education should be taking place. Some people look at it and feel like it is a bit complicated. Where did you learn to play? Where did you learn to play? You learn the rules, or you play the game and then you learn by osmosis, by just simply playing and getting accustomed to the rules?
Okay, I learned, like I said, Miss Archibald was our coach in primary school, so there's where you got your fundamentals. The court, the spacing. I remember she always used to give us this little leaflet explaining to us each different position. What is the purpose on the court? What you're supposed to do. So we had to study that, and then we did the practical where she then taught us the game. But I found that the more you play, the better you got. The more you play regional tournaments, the better you got, because you go out there and you see new things, new drills, new strategies and new ways of playing the game, and then you come back and you incorporate that into your style of playing, and that's how you improve.
Is there a coaching book, or whoever the coach is would design their drills and everything else? So the team can only go as far as to the skill of the coach, if you want to put it that way.
Yes and no. Why I would say that is, yes, you in any sport, your coach can take you so far, but there's always that little extra mile is always upon yourself to go and learn new things for yourself. But I don't know how it is back then, but luckily for us, we actually had a certified trained coach who studied in England, and back then England, were the cream of the crop with netball. And so she was able to bring the real skills, for that time of when we were doing netball and show us how netball is played now. So, yes, we were fortunate enough to learn it at a high standard then. What would have been a high standard then? But to progress the sport, I'm not sure if we actually have coaches who are up to date with the coaching standards and the coaching techniques right now and the certification and so on. So I think that may be the reason why we kind of stalled in our progress.
So there's no coaching manual?
Coaching manual?
That sounds rather strange, though.
I'm not sure. If that is the case, I've never seen one. And I myself, I have coached my club team, and I have coached the under-23 team and the under-21 national team as well.
So how do you pick up what is best for the group of girls under your coach?
Right. What I do, for me, I go, when I'm asked to coach a team, I just have them play, and then I make notes of each person, what I say as their strength, their weaknesses, and so on. And then I go and research to try and tailor programs to each individual. What I do is just bank on my skills that I learn and develop from playing abroad, and then just bring that into the girls and help them to be better.
So when the selectors when they pick a team, do they just give you a bunch of 15 girls, or they say, well, this goal shoot, goal attack, center, potentially center, wing attack, wing defense? What do they do? Is the coach will have to sort them out, or you're given, just like cricket, they pick bowlers, they pick all around, they pick batsmen, they pick a wicket keeper?
Yeah, ordinarily that is what happens. The selectors will come, they look at the games, and they would pick individuals based on what they see. When those players are now turned over to the coach now would ask players, we usually complete a form, positions that we play, and so on and so forth. And then what the coach then does is he or she would have persons playing those positions during the selection process. But that is how it is usually done. I know sometimes where teams have been picked by default. You need 12 players to play, and exactly 12 players show up to...
So that's the maximum that you could have a team?
Each tournament...
7 and 5 reserves?
Each tournament is different. I have played tournaments where it's 10.
10.
10, and you go overseas, you have 7 on court, 3 reserves.
I think in the World Cup I saw 7 on the court and about 5 reserves.
Yeah. Usually it's 12, but I remember under 23 used to be 10 players.
10?
But I think that was due to a costing issue more than, any rules for netball.
Costing by the organizers?
Yes.
But if a team was able to send 12, could they send 12 as opposed to the restricted 10? They would have to bear the extra cost?
Yes, they would have to, right.
But could they have 10 persons seated on the bench?
Yes.
Wow. Now, let us look at the outfit. Some people claim that they don't want their daughters playing because the netball outfit is a little bit skimpy. At any point in your netball development, were you overwhelmingly aware or too sensitive with respect to the gears that you had to wear?
No, not at all. Our coaches always ensure that because the skirts are short, make sure that we're properly attired under the skirts, so nothing is showing or anything. And the coaches are usually strict enough if you're not properly attired, but the coaches that I have had, you will not be on the court. But
Nothing is showing.
yeah,
But every
making
second
sure that
you
it's
see under the
covered.
skirt. No, every second.
But you're gonna just see the fabric under there, not seeing anything hanging out.
Okay.
Right.
Must be properly put
Covered.
together.
Yes. But there
Are there rules as to what you must wear underneath the skirt?
I honestly can't remember how it's worded. I can't remember how it's
But there's
worded.
something in respect to that, though.
To how you're tired.
Because some parents claim that you're a little bit too skimpy for the children,
But
and it will take a while for a child to really come and overpower that. Because guys go to the netball games.
Right.
Sometimes they can't tell you the score,
right.
you know, but they could tell you pull up board. Not serious. We're quite aware of that.
But I mean, for most of the sports, the outfit, because you got to be comfortable. Track and field, the girls are in the, what you call it, right, you know.
They're in there nothing. Yes.
Swimming is the same thing. We're so lucky to get a gymnast, you know. So, I mean, I guess for a woman it's a bit tough, but, and any netball, let me don't say any, but majority of the netballers I've come across never had an issue with the attire.
So could you play netball in a tights and not a skirt, a part of it?
I have seen competitions allowed it. Jamaica actually played in some tights, some three-quarter tights. I think that was a Fast 5 tournament. So I don't know if that's something the sport is progressing.
Evolving towards.
Right, towards. But yes, I can understand parents and the fear of their young children, but I remember our skirts were longer, a little longer.
I was just about to ask what the length of the skirt. Could
was-
it be knee height?
It would be just above the knee
Just
it
above
was
the
when
knee?
we were in primary school.
Then after you go high school, you come higher. The higher you go, the higher the skirt become.
And persons actually can choose how long or short they want the skirts to be.
Not the team management.
No, you wear it to your comfort.
Okay.
But it's not going to be done by your ankles because you can't run in a skirt done by your ankles.
We
But
have a Muslim wants to play and they cannot. Could you wear something on your head? Could you wear a cap on the netball field?
no.
Why?
A cap, no, they will see that as,
An obstacle because
right.
maybe the tip of the cap?
right, like for netball, you get inspected. Your fingernails have to be a certain length. You can't have any pins in your hair. You can't have any jewelry on. It's,
Maybe that's why we can't find netballers. Everybody got at least 6 inches of fingernails. But I have never seen you appearance like that at all with those 6-inch fingernails.
Right.
You do that at times or
no, it's the netball in me. The
netball?
nails thing, it just never, because of netball, we always have to keep our nails a certain length, so
Could you roll a ball, a roll pass?
no, can't roll a ball.
You could bounce it.
You can bounce, yes.
If the ball happens to accidentally hits another player's foot, what is that term? Accidentally, as opposed to actually putting out your foot and trying to, like somebody might try a bounce pass, and the person just put out their foot to try to intercept that pass,
Right.
and
Yeah. It's football, they will say, and then it's a
Football,
free
kicking.
pass. They will
Is
say
it a free
football,
pass?
yeah, and free pass.
the amount of thing that goes on. I did the netball exam way back because I wanted to understand. The amount of things is goal shoot and goal attack. It seems as if they got a free rein up there. The slightest touch and blap, they got the free shooting. That is a lot of sensitive thing on the netball court.
That was more than now. Even looking at the World Cup, you would think those girls in there are wrestling. But ever since they introduced the fair contest rule, yeah, it has been a bit more physical. A lot of things are now allowed than how it was then. And that is one of the rules that is killing our girls, because we play here to the standard then, where, you know, everything, once you touch, it's a contact infringement. But now when you go out to play regional netball, international netball, The calls that you will get at home, you will no longer get those out there.
I see quite a few, a lot. Especially that Jamaican girl there who got, when they said that they would have given lady at the series, player at the series. Her name was Ward, something Ward, Jody and Ward. Yeah, she got player of the game, and then the commentators them said they would have given her player of the entire tournament because she would appear as if she's not interested. And time you pass, she just fly across and intercept. Now, the shooting percentages in netball, they're usually very high. You have to be very mediocre for your shooting percentage to be below 85. And is it difficult shooting without a backboard?
For persons who just start in the game, yes, it is. A lot of the basketballers, the male basketballers, they used to try to mock the girls until now they come down to play with our, oh gosh, what you call that? With the companies. The company is playing.
Who come down to
So
play?
when male are introduced into the games, when they're playing in for their companies.
Business league?
Right, the business league. Oh gosh, shoot, the word was just right. And then now they're humble now when it's time to shoot, and they realize how difficult it is to shoot without a backboard. And that's when most of the guys now have some respect for the ladies who shoot in netball. If you're shooting for a long period of time, then it comes naturally. You never had the backboard, so you don't miss it. But for persons who know just starting to play or would have played a little basketball and then come in to play netball, they find it very difficult.
They got so much freedom down there by the goal post. Could you block somebody going up to? Could you come from behind and block somebody? Could you jump in here like basketballers and block somebody?
You can block, but you have to maintain a 3 feet distance from the shooter.
At what point? Because if you're blocking, you're going to be in motion. You might end up less than 3 feet, but then where you actually effectuated the block might well be 3 feet. At what juncture do the judge adjudicate the 3 feet?
When the ball is released from the player's hand, and then you intercept. That's when it's so if
At the point of interception.
right, if you intercept the ball while you had 2 feet, you didn't have the 3 feet, then it's an infringement against you. But if you time it well enough when the person shoots and you hold that 3 feet and then you intercept, even if you come down and you land maybe at 2 feet in, you waited until the ball was released.
Sometimes somebody would get fouled and they're attempting to shoot. Then the whistle goes and then they take an extra step forward. What is that?
Oh, you have
They go
to.
closer to the
Right.
post.
So when there's a contact call in the shooting circle or anywhere on the court, you have to take the place of where the person who contacted you was. Or if there's a lessening of the 3 feet distance, where the person didn't maintain a 3 feet when they were trying to intercept the ball, then now, let's say they gain a feet, and so they now come in 2 feet closer to you, then now you have to move in to where they were to now take a shot.
Wing attack. What's the difference between wing attack and wing defense?
Okay, well, just for the record, wing attack, I hate to play wing attack, but the wing attack, both positions, the wings are critical positions on the court. The wing attack is the one who brings down the ball to the helps in bringing down the ball to the shooter. That person has to be fast, accurate with their passes. That passes able to set up a play, able to read the attacking play. So that's one of the brains of your operations on the court. Your wing defender now, that person, when playing netball, remember one time Miss Emelita Warner Paul, she once said, your wing defender would either win the game for you or lose the game for you. And I couldn't understand it until you see it in motion. That person helps your goal defender so much in whether if you have a good wing defender, that person is able to cover a large area of ground. If they're fast, light on their feet, they can cover a large area of ground, giving your goal defender more opportunity to go into the circle to assist your goalkeeper in marking the shooter. So that's it.
Sorry, the wing defense can go where?
That person cannot pass the second,
third.
right, and they cannot enter the shooting circle.
What about the wing attack?
Same thing, going the opposite direction.
In the opposite direction.
Right.
Usually, your center. Most of the time, I see short centers.
Short
very nimble on their feet.
Fit.
fit.
Right.
I wonder if that's the position Hillary played. A lady who used to live College Street, got just across from us.
Yes.
She played center for.
Yes.
Are you aware of the players who played back in 78 and 73?
Not all of them. I can speak for Hillary because she's one who comes around still.
You serious? She's here?
I don't know if she's here at the moment, but whenever she is, she comes around. She comes around.
Hillary, they used to live just across from us when we lived on the wall in College Street.
Yeah.
Who else? I saw the 70, let's go to the 75. Was it 75? 75 and 78? 45 years and 48 years.
No, is it 45 and 50? I think it's 73.
73 and 78.
Right.
Wait there, by the way, your mom ever played netball?
She did, but she never made the national team. Good night, Mom.
Julie. But
Yes.
she was always around netball.
Always around. She played and then she took up administration. She was once the president for a few years.
When she played, what position she played?
She was
I'm
a
trying to picture
defender.
Julia on the netball court.
She was a defender.
But she refereed a lot of games.
Yes, she referee as well.
Yeah, she did a lot of refereeing. The netball court. What the surface of the netball court really supposed to be like? Are there standards? Because I could remember when they put down about 3 courts in Netball City, maybe even 4. What is the standard? I realize on the world scene, they have something almost similar to the basketball court.
Right. So you have the options, indoor, outdoor facilities, and you would make the court according to whether it's indoor or outdoor. I'm not certain the actual materials that you're supposed to use, but what I've seen is the asphalt on the outdoor courts, and inside I've seen from the board to the matting that is used for basketball.
We have a football field and a cricket field. And somehow, because we want them to coexist at Warner Park, we went for the minimum standard. Is there such a thing in netball that a court must have minimum measurements? Or they always have space to make it whatever it's supposed to be?
No, I think it's one standard. The only thing that I've seen different is for players who just learning the game, junior players, they would lower the pole.
The pole.
Right, but the length and width of the court, I think, is standard. But why you touch on the courts? Because you said, there were 3-4 courts in Warner Park. Right now, there are 3 courts, but only one can be used.
Why?
The middle, yes, it is really bad. It's really, really bad.
Well, it became really bad from what?
I think
a lot of playing on top of it, or people play
Right.
cricket, hardball, cricket,
Right,
and those
yeah,
sort of stuff.
that's the thing what happened. It's like Netball City is now like a multi-purpose center. We have seen tennis. We have showed up to practice and have to wait until tennis is finished so we can use the one court. We have seen, I don't know what they call that kind of football, where there's a smaller goal.
Small goal, they
Yeah.
call it.
Okay. that has been played in there as well. Volleyball used to use the third court.
The one most east.
Right.
But tennis used to have 2 courts there to the left of the net. What happened to them?
They do. I guess the tennis program has expanded, so they need more courts.
They need more courts.
Yeah.
Is Netball City the only venue where we can comfortably play competition netball in St. Kitts?
No. The only thing that Netball City has is that it has more courts than the others. I mean, we can use all now, but it has the 3 courts. But Connery has a beautiful facility. Newtown Court is very well maintained as well. Almost all the courts throughout the island, they are fairly decent.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
going to say, but to host a regional competition, we have to use Warner Park.
The seating accommodation is okay at Warner Park. I haven't been there in a while, to be honest.
Yes, it's fine. We had some pigeon issues over the years, but I guess persons studied it and were able to put some strategies in place to minimize that issue that we have. So it's not as bad now.
People take it for granted, but pigeon waste can cause serious diseases. I don't know if people don't wish to tell people that, but I did some research on it, and people must try to avoid
Right.
mingling with pigeon waste, very deadly disease associated with that. Now, when you're teaching a young shooter, do you go for the center of the ring, or do you try to get a little rebound off the back of the rim? How is it taught?
I was taught to aim for the inside edge of the pole.
Yeah, but where?
That's on
You
the
mean
opposite
the one
side.
behind?
Right.
So the
right.
back piece.
The back,
Back
yes.
piece.
Yes.
And if anything, you can just come back to the center, hit the front. Yeah, it's a really tough technique.
It is, but me and my shooting, because I started as a defender and then changed to being a shooter, I kind of just use my own unorthodox technique, but it wasn't the correct form for a shooter. And over the years, I tried to get it in, and it was when I actually went to Barbados. That's when my coach, she quote unquote, fixed my shooting action.
That major surgery, minor surgery.
Right, and even our players in the Leeward Islands, we shoot from down low. The Windward Islands and even all the teams, the Jamaica and all the other international teams, they shoot from higher up. So my coach raised my hand as well with the shooting.
Yeah, but it depends on your height too, because if you have a short shooter in a down low, they could shoot from. You'll always have to come up. But when you speak down low, they have people watching. Could you indicate what you mean by down low and up high? You mean you get it up here and then you let it off?
Yeah, I
or
used
you
to
let
shoot
it off from down here?
I used to shoot from right here, and I actually used to shoot this way and shoot like that.
You serious?
Yeah, because I was just a defender, and now it's starting to shoot. But for some reason, the balls were going in, and then over the years, I try and bring it in. And then when I reached Barbados, she got it fully in, and she had me shooting from up here.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, sorry. Good night to Margaret cutting my coach in Barbados.
Yeah, when she speaks about Barbados, that's for the scholarship.
Yes.
And was there an occasion where they might have wanted to explore the possibility of you playing for Barbados?
Yes, that was explored.
Sell out your nationality?
That was because I was in the motion. I'm just playing while I'm enjoying myself. I didn't actually stop to realize the achievement of it, because it's when persons actually said, you realize you're the only non-national on the UB school team. And it was only then when I realized, when somebody said it. But I can say this, when I first got down there, because I'm Michelle Liebert and Marcella Liebert went to UE, they thought I was her daughter.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So I rode that wave until I had to confess the truth. So I don't know if I received privileged treatment because they thought I was, because she made a good contribution to the school in terms of netball as well. So they thought I was her daughter. So I don't know if I was being favored because this is Marcella's daughter. We have to treat her good.
What position Marcella played?
Goal attack as well.
Goal attack?
So they thought this is Marcella's daughter now coming to play for UB.
Yeah. Well, how did you get that scholarship though? The government gave you, somebody saw you and decided, well, we want you to go to UE. Did you get a scholarship and then ended up playing netball, or you got a netball scholarship?
What happened, I went to school, and then I'm going to play netball, continue playing netball. So I signed up for the netball team. And school started late August, early September.
What year that was?
This was 2009. No, 2011.
2011.
And I signed up. And at the time, they were preparing to go to a tournament in Florida, which would have been in October of that year, if memory serves me right. And we started playing, went to the practice, played. I made it the team to go. When I came back, my coach pulled me aside and she said, "Do you know that the school have sports scholarships?" And I said, "No." She said, "You need to apply." And I think she brought me either the documents to fill out, and I did. But because it's not a netball scholarship, it's a sports scholarship, so all the different athletes have an opportunity to apply. And I did. And when I was home on break, that's when I got the call that, yes, you have been successful. And that's how I got the scholarship, and it's a free ride through.
What was it? Fully covered scholarship?
Yes, fully covered. Fully covered.
That's excellent. So, when you left here, did you go on a card of the government, or you went off your own?
Of my own.
Off your own?
Yes.
So you did not even get any economic
Oh, that you mean? Yes, I did get economic costs. Yes.
from the government?
Yes, I did apply.
You did apply?
Yes.
Before you left?
Before I left, yes.
Okay. So you get like a double salary, one from Barbados and one from...
No, after after that I had stopped the one home whenever I realized everything is going to be covered.
Why did you stop it? That is what your skill caused you to achieve.
No, but then, because the economic cost goes directly to the school, so that would be me depriving another person who really need it of getting it. So
Not putting any cushion on your bank account, you went straight to the school. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, your uncle, Barman Hanley.
yes, good night, Uncle James.
James Barman Hanley. And he would have been around basketball for very long. He ever used to be around netball?
Netball, he showed up for the big games.
For the big games?
And yes, my uncle has supported me through and through. Me coming home from school, that was due to my uncle making that possible for me during the summers. So he has been very supportive. We will always talk sports. He want to know how I'm doing in the netball, how the netball is going. So even if he doesn't come to every single game, he has always been interested.
He ever invited you to play basketball?
I did, yes.
Yeah?
I did. There was the Blue Devils basketball team. I think, if memory serves me right as well, it was supposed to be like the female
Section of
the female hitters team.
Mhm.
And then, but Mr. Tobias Rommel was introduced, and yes, he really took over and won with the female program. So that was his team, Rommel's team that he played for. Played a few years in basketball.
You used to go and support him when netball games were on? What
My-
team you supported? Hitters?
Of course, come on. Of course, I'm from Market Street, yes.
You went Newtown Primary School. You got Ghetto Roots up there too. We have Ghetto Roots. We got Gut Box in close vicinity. They used to practice at Dorset as well sometimes.
Interestingly enough, though, I was a better defender than a shooter
In basketball?
Yeah. So those netball skills came into to play up there.
Okay, let us look at the current crop. Let me let you catch your breath. Let us take a break and come back.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar Soda 90.3 for Fear No Favor.
Where is man? Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to sugarcityfmsankits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as Newrish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear nor favor. Every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM.
I happen to look through. Welcome back to Fear in Our Favor with my special guest, Michelle Liebert. I usually look at some statuses when I have a little chance away from my busy schedule. And I saw somebody continually putting up Jackie. She used to play netball?
Yes, my aunt?
Yes.
Yes, my aunt Jackie played, my aunt Jan played, my auntie Sandra played. Auntie Sandra played both netball and basketball. Good night, family. Good night, Auntie Sandra. Good night, Auntie Jan. Good night, Auntie Jackie.
Good night, family, as if they're my family too.
Right, but we had a sporting family because Uncle Kenny played basketball as well. Yeah.
What position Jackie used to play? Because only after, I know I used to see movement through the alley them by them and going over here, going over there, but I never did follow netball to such an extent. My focus was to see where your trajectory would have taken you. I wasn't really too familiar with the many others.
Yeah, Auntie Jackie
Adonis never played netball?
I honestly don't.
I believe so. I think
know.
Adonis played.
Possibly.
Hazel might not have played.
But yeah, Auntie Sandra said all the girls played, so to what levels, I'm not sure, but I can remember Auntie Sandra playing Auntie Jackie, Auntie Jan. Yeah, Auntie Jackie played center, midcourt, center wing attack.
Center wing
and she played for the club that I am now playing for, Coca-Cola Shamrock.
A lot of wonder how Jan made it on the netball. I would have really liked to go and watch a few games.
Most likely a lot of trash talk coming from Auntie Jan.
I could imagine. Janice Hanley.
Yes, Janice Hanley.
Good night. She is a true netballer from the original, the best Market Street, now playing for Coca-Cola Shamrock. And Jillian Archibald. She said that you are doing great, Michelle. So they are in tune and they are listening. Gwendolyn Nato.
Oh, Miss Nato. Wow. Good night, Miss Nato.
Good night, Michelle. So proud of you. You made a mark for yourself. Sandra Hanley, yes. You can imagine the emphasis, the exaggeration for emphasis. People who would like to call, you can call 466-0903. 466, is it 1113? Yes, my memory served me. Pretty okay.
Call someone the Miss Nato. She was one who was with us since Newton School because she taught at Newton School, so she would have been around the team since.
That's Nata's mother?
Yes.
Miss Nato was always around netball. Is she here? She used to live on the street that runs north to south, just as you pass the street with the school.
Right, yes. That's where she lived for many years. But no, she's not here now, but she was always around. She was like my second mother. I've traveled with her tournaments, you know.
A lovely lady,
lovely.
Cared about people so much.
Right.
If nobody else showed up to support the kids and be there to keep them well managed, would have been Miss Natal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in a very long time. Wherever she is, I would like to say hello and good night, and you continue to go from strength to strength, and may the good Lord bless you with whatever power you need to continue doing what you do so well. Now, let us look at the situation here because it seems as if netball used to have more support than they're having now.
Right.
More support. And I wish somebody could indicate to us how many teams, maximum team. I wonder if they never used to have 3 different, maybe let us say 2, A, B. But used to have so many teams. Liat, I don't know if there was a team named Liat. That was Marcella.
That wasn't during my time, but yes, we
before,
have heard about the history, yeah.
Coca-Cola, Shamrock.
Still present, still
Who
going.
else? They had a big teams and war back then.
There was a Panthers team.
Well, Panthers was a little bit after Liat
Okay.
and Coca-Cola. Panthers was a combination of persons from Newtown, got box and those other stuff there, right? What is the weak link right now in netball? Do we have competent coaches here to take our girls them to a next level?
No. And not to discredit the coaches that we've had because, we have all benefited from them in some way or the other. But to take us to that next level, no, we don't.
Take us to which next level?
To the
What
next
level are we
to
at
reach-
now?
Right now, we played a tournament last year in Dominica and we came last.
Under something? Under 9?
This was an open
Big people?
tournament, yes. That team went down to Dominica and didn't perform well, but we need dedicated coaches. We need persons to go and up their skills, a lot of change in netball. The sport has evolved so much. So we need coaches now to go and, get familiarized and now come up with new strategies to really take on the international style of playing in netball.
Do we have permanent coaches, people who coach as a job,
Yes.
or just spare time netball coaches?
From what I remember, there were coaches, the sports department had permanent coaches, and each coach was assigned to different teams. So that's when there were always tournaments, whether it's primary school competition, high school competition, because all the coaches are going to the schools and coaching the girls. So there were always a team from each school. But what is happening now, I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's a matter of coaches not going to the schools or the girls are not practicing, or if it's a combination of both things. But we're not getting the same level of play. We're not getting the same amount of teams that we used to get back then.
But currently you have coaches assigned to schools, but you expect these coaches to teach them netball, golf, cricket. One and the same person would have to do all of that. I'm talking about coaches who just strictly deal with netball. You can read them.
Oh, sorry. Miss Archibald said that Panthers was a breakaway from Shamrock. And she said, we need persons who are genuinely interested in netball.
Okay, that's the newest one? Yes. Preach it, Jill, my good friend. That's we need permanent coaches. We need to say, look, we're going to select a pool of coaches. Because I used to have coached my son running as a sprinter. And I tell people, look, you can come around if you see something I do not see. I'm willing to make the adjustments. I don't know if it's an ego thing right now with the current coaches. Do you all have like a coaching committee, a pool of coaches who could do postmortem and games and give feedback, or everybody's just stuck in their ways to the team? If you see something,
Right.
would you be able to go and tell Lady J, look, I saw this and this should be corrected?
As a player?
Yes.
Player coach? Yes. Luckily for me, I have had coaches that were accommodating. Avenel Thornhill Julian, she was the last coach I had for the national under 23 And she was one. I remember the final game that we were playing, and I pulled her aside and gave my input on something. And she said yes. Because sometimes you as a coach, in the moment you're caught up, is not everything you're going to see. And I didn't even know that then until I actually started coaching as well. So I always encourage my players to let me know if they see something. But I can speak to that. Who we have now in the system, I don't know if they're open to that kind of criticism or feedback or suggestion.
Not criticism, critique.
Critique.
Because when you say criticism, you got a negative connotation.
Right.
Critique could bring out both, and some of them will feel more comfortable with that. Do we have a lot of player coaches? People
Right.
who play and still... You see, sometimes that they resonate a little bit more with the current set of players that we have. They want to see you play. You want me to do it? You could do it? Because some of them, they question themselves as to whether or not this person will ask me to do this.
Right.
If they could do it, because if you're telling me, look, you're shooting 2 out of 10, you got to get it up. You got to get it 78. I would say, could you show me how I could go up there 78? You understand?
Right.
Even though they might not express it, they internalize it. It's very difficult when somebody is coaching you. And if you don't know the history of the person, you tend to have less regard for the instructions given. But when somebody can be on the court with you and demonstrating what they were asking of you to do, it resonates a little bit more.
Yes.
So you either had a history to go along with the trust and confidence, or you have the current state of affairs where you play with your people you're coaching. Which one you think is more ideal?
For the team, it benefits the team more, but for that individual that is wearing that dual hat, it takes away from their game. And I can speak for
Take
me.
away from who?
For the person who is being both player
you
coach.
play and you coach sometime, or you
Right.
done with the playing?
I'm doing both at the moment, playing and coaching. And it's almost like you're making a sacrifice to ensure that the others do what you want them to do and get to where you want them to go. So the time that you used to use to put in your individual time to develop yourself, giving it to the others. As well as sometimes when you're actually playing, this happens to me a lot. I really need to stop. And my same coaches, both Jill and I've always used to tell me, you're watching the game. So sometimes I'm there and it's like I'm watching it, but I'm just thinking, like, how can I make this better in the moment?
Confuse you sometimes because you're watching to see how you can assess and evaluate.
Right.
But at the same time, you're supposed to be an integral part of
Right,
the play.
right.
So you got to lapse somewhere.
Right.
Either you lapse as a player or you lapse as your observation would guide you. Yeah, that is a tough one, but I still feel I would support the coach who plays.
Okay.
Because we need it. We need it right now.
I think that is what is contributing to the longevity of the teams right now, the player coaches, because we don't have any coaches. So the Newtown and the Shamrock, these teams are mainly coached by some of the players who've been there for quite a while.
That's why I say either the history gonna work for you
Right.
or the current state of affairs. Netball, boy.
Yeah.
Netball. I would have seen some great games at Netball City. Do people pay to watch netball?
Yes, it's usually $5. $5.
Children, anybody at all?
Children, I think it's $3, and adults is $5. And usually you pay that $3, $5, and you get to see 2 games or 3 games, depending on the night.
How do they go about selecting a coach for a national team? Whether under 13, under 15, under 18, under 21, how do they go about? Do they call you and say, Michelle, we would like you to accompany the team, but we want some preparation and we would like you to do some coaching in the interim? How do they do it? Do they select one coach or a few coaches to work along with a particular team? Selectees.
For the national team, right now I think it's a process of default who is around more.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think during my whole time only once I actually had to write. And that's something they encourage all those who are interested to write, and state their interests and the skills, qualifications, and so on for netball, but that's how it's supposed to be done, and then they analyze, like a whole interview process, but that has never materialized. It's mainly done, okay, this is the coach that we see can do it, let us get that person if they're available.
But what about the selectors? Do they have a set of selectors, or a tournament is coming up and the association would tend to get this subgroup of selectors to assist them in? But you have to have tournament for you to have selectors.
Right. There's usually a selection committee. This tournament that just concluded, the first federal St. Kitts Nevis League, there were selectors. We don't know who are the selectors, but there were selectors coming to look at the games. Let me don't say it to mean that there were some phantom selectors in the stand. There were actually real persons there, but we just didn't ask who they were, but we knew that there were selectors present. And they come and they do their job, they do their assessment. Usually it's persons who have been either played the game or have been part of an administration of netball. Those are the ones who are usually on the selection committee.
So when you pick a team apart from the coach, do you have trainers, like
Yes.
physical strength?
Yes, trainers, an assistant coach. Usually there is a medical person, but that person doesn't come around. Maybe when it's time to travel, you will get more of that person. But if anything happens, you can go to that person. But
We're in that there? From the park to that there? Now, what I'm trying to say now, you saw what happened to LeBron James' son the other day. He had a cardiac arrest while training. It's not like the footballer who got struck in the heart area and caused the heart to go out of rhythm. And they are saying that there are times when you can just be there training, nobody would have to hit you, and you could experience a cardiac arrest. You don't think that it is time for us, sports in general, yes, we're
Right.
talking about sports in general, to start looking at other person's experiences to teach us lessons as to what we need to do. Do you think we can pay our sportsmen and women that degree of attention to avoid the unfortunate situation?
if we really want to get serious, then we ought to do it. This league that just concluded as well was played on both islands. And one of the games we played in Nevis. And one of our players, at the end of the half, we're not sure what was happening to her. It almost looked like she was having a seizure. She just started shaking. And there was no medic around, no Red Cross, no nothing. Luckily, there was a doctor who was just watching the game and came down to assist. And then persons from the stands, saying, the players need to demand better. Y'all should not play unless there's a Red Cross or something.
I was
some
coming to
medical,
that.
Yeah,
I was coming to
present
that.
for each game. So that's something we really need to look into if we really want to get serious with this sport.
Because you're supposed sometime who would have taken quite a fall. It could be hip injury,
Right.
could be ankle injury, and something you might just take back up, band up somebody's ankle and ask them to go back up. But ankle injury is very, very serious. If you don't look after it the appropriate way, it can be an ankle injury
Right.
of a lifetime.
Right. That's
Our
me
life.
right now. I broke my ankle last September.
Last year,
Yeah, last year. And played the tournament. Really shouldn't have played the tournament, but I played.
was in cast
Yeah, I was in a cast last year.
for how long?
I had it on for about just over a month.
A month?
Just over a month, yeah.
What about the financial support? I want to ask this question. I don't know, maybe Jill is listening, so, and Julie too, so they might be able to give me some feedback. When the government would entertain the parliamentary debates and they have the budget talk and they put some money aside for sports, do they have line items for cricket, soccer, netball, or they just pool it somewhere. And then they chop a coin and say, well, if you come and heads, netball get $50. Now, how is it done? What is your understanding? Because finance seems to be a major issue.
Yes, it is.
How is it done?
My understanding, I can only speak to what I've seen. I would like to assume there's something put aside for netball, but it can't possibly be because when there's tournaments, we have to do a lot of fundraising, a lot of begging. So I'm not sure if the funds are just pooled for all sports.
Yeah.
Sorry, if the funds are pooled for all sports or if it's individually assigned. But if it's individually assigned to each sport, I don't see it that way because, like I said, we have to do so much on our own to get teams to go. What I can say, though, is Olympic Committee has been very helpful with the girls, with the sport. Netball in St. Kitts has just officially become a member of the Olympic Committee here in St. Kitts.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes. So they would, they would try and assist as much as they can, but we still have to do a lot of heavy lifting to get teams going and to get the tournament. And that is one of the things that has really retarded our growth and going out and going to tournaments and so on. Funding has been a big issue.
Have you ever recalled traveling with a national team and observe the allowances given to each player or the coach? How is it done? Do they come and say, Michelle, you are the coach, hold $1,000 in your pocket, you must have some financial flexibility. The players them get any allowances? Do they get in the preparatory stages? Do they get allowances to catch bus? Do they make provision to get them back to Sadlers, Sandy Point, St. Paul, Zetbe, even Newcastle? How is it done? When you all traveled during the last tournament,
I didn't go to that tournament last year.
Could you, something need fixing? Let us take a break and then come back. Because something you talk, and I'm hearing you.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar City 90.3 for Fear Nor Favor.
Where is man? Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to sugarcityfmstkits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as Newrish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear Nor Favor every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM.
Welcome back to Fear Nor Favor, and I have my special guest with me still, Michelle Liebert, and we're going a little deeper into the netball because no sporting activity could move forward without financial assistance. And I know that clubs and associations, according to, you have an entity, there's a continuation of an association. Is there a balance sheet for the St. Kitts Netball Association? Can I go somewhere and read the bank statement?
No, I don't think those are published anywhere. But financials are supposed to be produced at each AGM. I want to back up a little bit into
please.
what you were
Yes.
asking.
Yes.
Because I want to share my experience, not to be bashful, but just so persons understand what netballers have to go through. My very first time I played for under 23 national, and at that time it was the team that was the senior team, you can say, because there were no longer any more Caribbean tournaments happening. So the under 23 was like your big thing, your big team. And the first time I went, we were in Grenada. Luckily for me, my brother was down there. I think they had the Shell cricket camp or something of that nature.
That is Steve.
Steve Liebert, yes. And I remember, I can laugh now because when we came back and did the post-mortem, the persons here didn't believe us, but the food, I literally had 3 fries to eat the night before my first game.
3 fried
3
fish?
fries. No, 3 fries. 3 French fries.
Chips.
And piece of, I think, fish or chicken it was. The night before supposed to be our first game, our big game. And it was sad. Luckily, like I said, my brother was there for me. So I called him, big bro, I'm hungry. And he left camp and come and gave me something to eat. And then from then, the persons that I was rooming with, we were able to eat properly because my brother would come and bring something for us to eat. But we just didn't have enough to eat as athletes. It just wasn't enough.
Did you present your invoices to government when you came back for reimbursement?
No. And as netballers, we don't get any stipends. There's nothing of that sort. Most times you go and the coach or the manager would cook for you. And you just kind of got to make do with what you have. But it shouldn't be that way. But that's how it is.
But where the money comes from for the coach or the manager to cook? Because that is like reducing expenses. But where do you get the foundation of finance from?
That's
They give them money to travel with?
Yes. You raise funds and you are given X amount, whether the president works out, well, you're going to use X amount per player, per night, per day. But for persons, I don't know if it's a situation where they're watching their money just in case there's an emergency. So they try to pick it, but we'll be picking at the wrong thing. The players need to eat properly. So it really is a struggle as a netballer going out there on tournaments. And next thing that persons don't know for netballers, you go, especially under 23, it's a very, somehow I'm getting cold. The room get extra cold. For under 23, as a netballer, you go, the games are morning and afternoon. And sometimes the last one that I played abroad, or the second to last one, our team didn't get a break until the last day. So you play morning and afternoon for about 4 days straight. And you go to play a game 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You come home, you have to hand wash your clothes, hang them out, maybe have a team meeting, get some rest, and get ready for your next game in the afternoon. So it's very difficult, even that simple thing of having to wash your clothes on your hand while you're in tournament. We don't get the privileges like the footballers or any other sports. They would just pay to get their jerseys washed. We have to hand wash, and it is very difficult, and you don't get enough to eat. You hardly get enough rest because it's morning and afternoon, so it does be really taxing on your body as a
What
player.
about sponsorship? But you see, sponsorship follows success. We have not had much going on with netball, and we have to admit to that. And people are not coming on board. So maybe from tonight, we can make a special appeal to persons, because I looked at the World Cup. But in the duration of time is short as well. Very, very short.
Right.
Yeah, so I would like us to make a plea to the private sector and government to start putting a team together for the next 4 years, every 4 years, for the World Cup. And I think that we can make it.
Right.
But we have to be making concerted effort. We have to have a sense of purpose. This is what we're building for. So if you have 8 girls right now, You keep them at the nucleus and you add on incrementally. Take some from the periphery, some who are looking on and seem as if they have some potential, and bring them in. And hire at least 2-3 coaches to get the team. We have to come better than that.
Correct.
We can't be celebrating 73 and 78, and we can't see any manifestation of continuity that persons would have learned and persons are gravitating toward. And I think that was an excellent gesture to we come to that, to encourage people, because a lot of younger netballers, they don't have a clue of those past netballers. And
Correct.
they're supposed to be having a game.
Yes, that's part of you're part of the week of activities.
Is it the GG team? What do they call it?
I would have to check. I don't remember, but there's a game.
The government something.
Yeah, right. And I think some of the parliamentarians will be participating.
Right.
Yes.
So I wonder if Baila the GG would be able to take part. You know, what's up on the GG? The GG got some body, yeah. So perhaps from the whistle, you might get a baton. I think that is a very good move, and maybe you could give us a little. We got to come back to it, though.
Right.
The finance. How can we go about financing instead of having the people, the selectees, going around and begging?
Right. It's.
What can be done?
I honestly believe that we need to come better in terms of our plan. We need to see something on paper. This is our plan for the next 4 years, and this is how we need to achieve it, and we need your money to contribute to X, Y, and Z when we go into these business places. I think going to organizations, begging for funding or asking for donation, but they're not getting any results over and over again, and they don't know which direction we're going. That is why sometimes, we are denied the funds. So I think we need to put together a proper plan. And producing a World Cup team is not going to happen overnight. So we need to realistically put something in place when we go into these organizations and get them on board.
But whose responsibility it is?
I would say the admin as well as the players. We need to have a meeting with players, the national teams, the clubs, and find out where do we want to go, where and how do we achieve it, and try and get as much input, suggestions as possible. And then we build our program from there.
If they have a structure, they must say, well, when is the netball season, by the way? From what month to what month?
Ordinarily, it
Call
is.
it a business year, something like that.
There is April is the local league. This year we just had the first St. Kitts Nevis tournament that started. I think was about April, May. But ordinarily it is April is netball, and it goes down to about June, the ending of June. And then there's the business league that starts in October.
April, May, June, that's 3 months. Start in October and finish in October?
For business leagues?
Yes.
October, November.
So out of 12 months, we're playing 5 months only of netball? But we could hardly reach on the court with 5 months. No, we got to come better than that. We need to have a better structured program. So when you go to sponsors, they understand, well, you're going to be taking part in this. What about invitationals? Do we invite people to play games?
No,
Maybe invite 3 overseas team and pick the top 3. Well, all the 5 clubs we have. So pick and then get a little tournament. What are we doing?
No, there's nothing of that sort, because who's going to foot the bill when the team comes to put them up, to provide transportation and so on?
Yeah, that should be all part of the budget. We need to get our young ladies more involved in things. And people get involved in things when the trajectory is taking them towards a purposed eventuality. We're going World Cup, 4 years.
Right.
So they need to have something to work towards. I even feel when CPL comes, they could just throw a little marking somewhere and have a little exhibition game. Down there right in Warner Park. That is our Warner Park.
Right.
I mean, CPL is the biggest thing we have, and if you don't look sharp, it might become the only thing we have going for us. Yes, the youth footballers, them doing stuff, but what happens if you just pick a team and do some display? We just watch a whole World Cup, you mean we ain't learn anything?
Right.
No moves? Some young netballers should say, I saw the girl, Jody Ann Ward, And I say I do this, I want to do something like that too. People aspire to be Brian Lara said in the netball in the World Cup that people would like to aspire to look like or to become.
Right.
We need to do that, man. We got to come better.
I know. But for me, but something that you mentioned, that having these persons come on from the 73 team, the 78 team. Luckily for us, we had Jennifer Nero, Miss Archibald, persons coming to give their real life testimony to us. And without actually having a visual, we didn't have any videos to see them play, but for them to speak to us and speak to the things that they did and how they got it done on the court and use that to motivate us. I remember 2008 for under 23, that tournament would have been in St. Lucia. And just by having that talk, Miss Archibald come to talk to us, Jennifer Nero came and talk and tell us about 73, 78. And one of our chants, then we really believe that this is our time now. And one of our chants was, 78, 2008, meaning we have to win. It didn't happen in 2008, but we won 2009 for the first time on the 23 tournament.
23.
But it was just, persons that see these motivational talks as, well, they don't have any bearing, but they really do, a true sports person, they really do motivate you. But it is possible because it has been done by our own. So just having them around, I was fired up. I'm like, we have to win these tournaments.
I believe that we ought to have had at least 2 persons down in South Africa taking notes, attending consultations,
right. The workshops, and
everything. And I believe we dropped the ball. We might not have been able to produce a team,
right,
but we could have had 2 persons who could have gone and bring back valuable information. And in this day of advanced technology, we should have recordings at our games. So you all own the recording at coaches and say, look, point out this where you use the phone. No, serious, point out this, point out that.
For us, our team, we tape some of our practice sessions.
Okay.
We're able to see. Yeah. Sometimes just to get a drill done. I remember we had one to shoot her, and there was something particular that we wanted her to do, and she just couldn't get it in. We said, hold on. Videotape it and then showed her. And when she started, she's like, oh, okay. Like, she saw what she was doing wrong, and she was able to get it.
And those things are important because sometimes people, they call that not the hidden, the blind self. Philosophy call it the blind self, Joe Harvey Winder. The known, the unknown, the hidden and the blind. That things about you that people know that you don't know, and we have to point it out to you. And but how the youngsters them or the youngsters them, how are they proving themselves worthy of wanting people to help them? Are they there? They're resisting. They have the discipline. Where they are, the young set of players.
The young, when you said young, what age group you're looking at?
I'm even thinking about people in the embryonic stage of the netball. You could be 23 and playing netball for the first time.
Right, that is true. I'm interested that you brought that up because for our club, we took on a set of girls first time playing netball. Last year was some of them first time, and this year we were able to produce a player who made the national squad and just started learning the game last year. Miss Tronell Chumney, good night.
Tronell Chumney.
Yes.
Where she is on Newtownish?
Yeah, the Chumneys are usually from
of village, either village or Newtown.
Yeah, she resides in the west, but yeah, that area. But yeah, so, we actually take the time, and we're glad when persons come that don't know netball because we get to mold them into what we want them to be. So we take the time and really train them up. The other teams who want to come, you're already done good. You're already a star. But we like to take the time and really train the girls them.
And that's the positive side.
Right. But the younger players, because our club is mainly made up of persons who are out of school. We do encourage persons who are still in school to come, but we mainly have girls who are already out of school coming.
So we all do the recruiting, not in the secondary schools? There's no recruiting going on?
The recruiting that currently happens, we have a Facebook page, we send out things for persons who are interested to sign up, what to go, who to contact. But most recruiting is done, and you see persons, you look like you can play some netball. Have you played netball before? Some you get yes, okay, can you come to our practice? Some you get no, that's okay, we'll teach you. So that's how most of the recruitment is done.
I believe that the schools they do have some extended assemblies. And what happens if you have two girls two ladies go there and demonstrate the foot movement, the distance you have to take must be between you and the person with the ball, and just point out a few things. And then you call on one of the students and you have them substitute for one. Then you have two students now doing their own thing. You have to come up with things like that. And I think it can take off. It can take off. Now, it's nice to be positive, but it's better to be realistic. We have the freeing up of the marijuana. You got young females using marijuana. You have young males using marijuana. Do you find during the practice sessions, you have persons coming out even to watch on, and males, they're just smoking down Netball City?
Over the years, we never really had that problem. Up Scarborough is a different story.
I know.
But down at Netball, it is not a problem. But for the girls, like I said, recently, Netball became an official member of Olympic and so on. So we got to be careful as players, the secondhand smoke and thing. We got to be careful because you go to a tournament, they're testing you and all these things.
Right. So you
we got to
might
be careful.
That is where I'm coming from. You're putting your energy, your time, sacrificing to build this group. Because remember I tell you 4 years we're going to train for this World Cup. And if these people badly associate themselves, then they could not be available after all these years of putting stuff inside here.
Right.
Do they have rules? Females will smoke. Somebody shows up high, what happened? You're coaching a team. Suppose when you players them show up high, what you going to do?
Luckily, we haven't had that, but...
No, we're working on it's a hypothetical situation and it's a supposition. What would you do as a coach?
Me, I would pull the person aside.
Even though they could shoot 10 out of 10 in that condition?
No, because the team is not going to win and then it's taken away from them. I will pull them.
But they ain't doing any testing. You see where the problem is? They're not doing any testing. One time they invited me to come and talk to some guys. And they were supposed to travel to St. Martin to play some basketball. Only about 5% showed up because they assumed they were going to be tested.
Oh.
You see the problem we could be facing? We have to put on some strong laws.
Right. And I think that our sports persons need to be educated more on this topic, especially with, the freeing up of it and
freeing
so
up
on.
of the weed, yeah.
Because you as a sports person, you need to know what are the implications for you. And it can get serious, it can be bad. Everything that you have worked for can be taken away from you. So...
And peer persons who helped you too.
Right.
And a lot of sponsors going to be pulling back their monies. But I mean, in this with these young people, they're smoking more than how the chimney up the factories. No, serious. People going to be looking at it for broad spectrum. And we have to convince persons that the better persons you have working on, maybe they might even ask them to go for medical tests and occasional testing. To say, well, our monies wouldn't go in vain. We really want to put some monies into this. No, serious. We gotta do something, man. The netball, we gotta bring back a core of those persons, the ladies them who played before, and give them ambassadorial duties to go around, give them a little token of appreciation, a little allowance, and the whole motivational speeches, even demonstration. Not all of them would be able to do the same degree of flexibility because of the age they would be at this point.
Right.
But at least they could say, let us suppose that the Honorable Marcella Liban, she came to do something and she said, Michelle, could you demonstrate how the shooting motion is?
Right.
You know how nice it would be if some young players realize that our Gigi could come to the netball court and do something, because I think she exercises a lot.
Yeah.
She is on the road almost every morning. And if an invitation can go out to her. Really, Donna was part of that team too? No, not Matt Master. She was the captain? Matt Master was the captain? Who was the captain? Was it Jill or Matt Master?
Jill would have to answer. You're putting me on the spot.
Yeah, Matt Master is the guy, Matt Master, them from up Market Street. They used to play for Santos.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Master, and there's a Donna over at Parkway.
Yeah, she was, in our time now, she does a lot of umpiring.
Right. And they had a Blanchard. I saw somebody, Thelma Brown, used to play.
Yes, she was part of administration as well. She was once the vice president or president at one point in time.
So we don't have any more Bridges and Freddie Knights and stuff on that ball?
In terms of male presence?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, the sport is actually headed by a male at the moment.
Yeah, a male, yes. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Those guys used to come out and Bridges them used to play then that ball, shoot this, do this, exercise and go running with it. So do you have that kind of male presence? Could you call about 4 guys who are consistently around netball and willing to help?
Maybe not.
Rommel.
Maybe there's Sailor, Orville Thompson.
Used to be training with the girls, yes.
Recently, Nash is coming on board. I think he has been named the assistant coach for the national team as well. He's part of basketball.
The assistant coach of which the netball team?
Yeah.
So who is the coach?
Valerie Nisbet. This is for the national netball team.
That's a division?
Yeah, she's from Nevis, yeah, but she lives in St. Kitts.
You spoke earlier about a St. Kitts Nevis tournament. Are you indicating that you have teams from St. Kitts and Nevis coming up against each other?
Yes.
How do they decide whether you're going to 3-3 or 3-4 or 3-5, the ratio of the team? Or they just allow anybody to come once you have a team?
Right. Any amount of teams can register from Nevis or from St. Kitts.
Her name is, people still making the West Indies select team.
Oh no, that
used
was
to be a big thing.
Yeah, that was dismantled, and even that should be talked about more because Jill coached our West Indies team. Lydia Thompson was captain of
Lydia Thompson,
captain,
right?
Yes. Our West Indies team.
At the same time, when she made it, Joyce and Pennyfeather made it as well.
So these are things that the younger persons need to know and understand that yes, it is possible. We have produced some of the best. It is possible.
Heather Pennyfeather.
Right, so...
Pennyfeather was part of one of those teams. The 78 or the 73 team.
I've heard her.
Heather Pennyfeather from Molyneux. Is Heather Pennyfeather? Yes, I think Heather from Molyneux. Yeah, Joyce and Pennyfeather.
Maybe that's who I'm mixing up. The two.
Joyce from Sandy Point. Yeah, we had so many lovely players, man. Some shooters.
Yeah.
Some good shooters we have around here. When you were young coming up in netball, who you wanted to be like? You wanted to emulate?
I'm going to be biased, but I always had my eyes on the Shamrock team. I wanted to be as graceful as Daislyn Sharp on the court. That lady is classy both off the court, on the court. She has a style of play that is unique. Nobody else plays the way that she does.
What position she plays?
She was a defender.
Lozat Road at one time.
Yeah, she was
a defender.
I wanted the aggression as Natasha. Oh gosh, what's her name? There was a Natasha Atherton. Right. Yes. I wanted the aggression that she had. There was Natalie Nisbet Sutton. She could do a no-look pass. There's the Sheridan. Sheridan could set up a player, could reel a player. I wanted to be Roberts. That is what I wanted to be. Yes. That is what I grew up watching. And I want to be like that. The Shamrock team was just it for me. They just had a standard of play. They were just different. So watching those girls, I tried to do a little bit of everything, everything that they were doing. Who else I wanted to be like? I never used to watch like the shooters because that wasn't really my thing then. But yeah.
We're gonna dig a little deep and a little deep and dirty. We're going oil deep.
Oh, before we go any
Yes.
further, my aunt Donis in California, she did play for the Liat
I
team.
just coming to that now. We know that our little featherweight, our little St. Kitts has been polarized by politics. Ain't no maybe about it. I think at one time, Coca-Cola might have been considered a PAM team, and the Liat
Was a
would
Labour
have
team.
Labour team. So I'm now asking, how was Adonis facilitated inside a Hanley's home, playing for Liat when everybody else played for Shamrock?
I should have them answer that one. I should have them.
No, but you understand, it's a reality,
Right,
too, and that
right.
is something we cannot get away from. Our society has been polarized in many ways, politically, and I'm wondering if somebody might say they're going to play in netball, they want this government.
See, Auntie Sandra said she played for Liat as well.
Sandra?
Sandra played for Liat as well. So those are two sisters playing for Liat team.
So then the Hanley family should be well off. If Labour in power, Pam in power. just a light moment. That's good though. Janice, the best Shamrock. Yeah, but you find politics interfering?
A bit, because you have heard persons actually said they're not coming around because they're party nothing and these things. And when you used to hear those things, even in my younger days, thinking, that's just talk, that ain't even make no sense. But then you see it happen.
Right.
You see it happen, persons not coming up to they don't want anything to do with no coaching, anything to do with teams. Some players not showing up to play for national teams. So,
And Gillian said, Miss like Archibald, I was employed by the government to introduce netball in the primary school. I coached 16 primary schools by myself. Wow. Gwendolyn Natter, Miss Natter said, lack of professionalism and impartiality. And they had whatever insularity they had. It's basically the same thing. You understand? And but I believe back then, though, you had persons being more mature and willing to work together. But I don't know if that could happen right now.
yeah,
I don't know.
we have lost, looking at the bigger picture, the country above self, removing whatever you feel within yourself to come together for the greater good of the country. We have lost that element.
Because such as the challenges we have, that would have to happen, And Ms. Nada said, I believe there should be more incentives to make netball more attractive. What kind of incentive, though? Maybe even a scholarship?
Scholarship.
You're going from primary school to high school. You say, we're giving you a netball. Just like how Social Security giving scholarship, you could build a fund and give like a netball scholarship. So this person would be put on a guilt trip knowing that they have to continue the netball
Right.
as a move to the secondary school, whether it's Bassett, High Sandy Point, Sadlers, Vulture, something like that. But how can you do that without a fund?
That's true. And we really do need a fund because we have had a situation where players lose wages because they have to travel with the national team. They're not getting paid.
I find that to be sort of ridiculous, especially if you're working for government or statutory organization. I could remember somebody had to travel and she was told that it would come out of her vacation. I mean, come on. And your national duty.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I think that a tournament was here and she had to be amongst the girls, them down there, go by the hotel, be with them. And they told her that she couldn't get the time off. You'll have to come. We got to be.
Yeah.
We're not only looking for harmonization. We're looking for persons who work in unison. I work in here. They understand if I call to national duty, I do this, I do that. I don't lose a depot. And if we can come to that sort of construct, we're going to have it'll be an uphill struggle.
It will be.
It'll be an uphill struggle. And we want to let them know the caliber of persons who actually play netball. Because back in school, when they had sports, they only used to give PE to persons in the lower streams. You understand? So the guys, I mean, the 1 and the 2s and the 3s, you couldn't find them on the PE program playing outside. I could recall when I was in sixth form, I was the captain at Bastia High School cricket team, and I went down and made a good 60-something, and I took a few wickets. And there was a teacher from Newrish, but he was teaching down here. When I reached up in the pavilion, he came and he put out his hand and he said, if you could have used your head as good as that bat, you'd have been an excellent student. And I gave him some choice words. I did not know who he was then. The next morning I go over, the Monday morning I go over to school. I see the man in the staff room as a teacher. And he saw me in my sixth form clothes. And he came out and he apologized.
Okay.
You see, so it's some
stigma with it, right?
Yes, and people, because look at you play netball and you studied, right? You just don't go to the netball court, you just didn't pick up a few sexy subjects and you have a bachelor's of art degree, you have a master's degree, so things could happen. You don't have to be somebody who is not interested academically, because those are the persons who we want, persons who can think. Sometimes I wonder if our cricket team must not force our players to have some sort of academic, something away from the cricket field. I really don't see how we lose some of these matches. No, serious.
Maybe there are too many incentives. I don't know.
And they're getting.
That's it, they're getting. If netball could just get a fraction of what they're getting.
I'm just coming to that. I'm saying that CPL usually would leave some monies behind. The money CPL leaves behind must not always and only go to cricket. They could go to other grassroots programs, such as our effort to go for the child to reach World Cup in netball. Government could take some of that and distribute it pretty well between, netball. What other sports we have going on here?
We have the basketball, the cricket.
Cricket where?
Football.
CPL.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Because
CPL.
there's no cricket
not league.
tournament.
So I'm saying when CPL brings the money, we should have it, some kind of committee, some independent group of people to say, let's put some money over there. How expensive it is to be a netballer?
In terms of gear?
Yes.
A pair of proper shoes, maybe about 250 easy.
To play one match?
No, those will last you maybe a year.
A year?
Because we're playing on the hard outdoor facility,
Yes.
so maybe about a year. Tights, we're girls, so we have to wear certain undergarments. Maybe you spend another $100 on those a year. And then there's the netball itself, maybe another 200 easy.
How many netballers you think would have a personal netball?
Not many.
You see, that's the
many.
same thing. If you get a little straw bag, a ball bag, and you walk up the park, whether you're center, wing defense, wing attack, goal defense, goal attack, goal shoot, and you walk up to the park with your netball inside there, it is sort of psychological motivation.
Right.
You pick up your ball, you're going to play netball. I mean, regardless of who you meet on the road, want to gossip and chat, you're on a mission, you got a purpose, you're going to play net, and you feel like a netballer.
Right.
But you can't get up every day, go up the netball city and hope that
Somebody
the
come.
gears would be there waiting and you the balls. No, it shouldn't be like that. Do they inspect the shoes when you're
No, when you're playing, no.
So somebody could be playing in shoes that could be detrimental to their physical well-being.
You mean, oh no, you have to, I thought you mean like how they inspect the nails and so on. You have to wear tennis, what I call those, tennis shoes.
But what about the sole? Suppose somebody's shoe would have gone through wear and tear. Maybe you just have just had a downpour of rain, and you're increasing the risk of somebody playing. But not even the individual team manager who look at your shoes and say, "No man, those you want changing, man. You." Just like when you drive in a car and the tires smooth.
But that's the thing, and as coaches, I mean, Mr. Archibald could attest to this, how many players come through, they don't have the proper gear, they don't have proper shoes, and she would use her own money. Miss Nata as well, these persons who have been around would use their own money, whether to buy socks or shoes, whatever persons need. So it's once a player is showing that interest, but the parents just can't afford to give them the proper thing, the proper tools. These coaches go into their pockets.
Jill said, yes, politics has played a big part in the demise of netball. You got to talk it as it is. When are we going to get over that hurdle? And we never spoke about Carmen Versailles.
No.
How is Versailles' wife?
Yeah, she was one as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Sandra Henderson, Marcella, and Carmen Versailles was our coaches at Dorset Park. When you superimpose a netball court onto a basketball court, could there be a state of confusion with the markings?
Yes. Yes, most definitely. I mean, even though they try sometimes to do it with a different color.
Yes.
It often poses confusion, not just for the players, for the umpires them as well. They're calling persons offside when they're not offside. So it gets confusing sometimes.
So do they play basketball on our netball court at Netball City?
No, there are volleyball markings on the court.
Does
And
that-
no tennis markings on the court as well.
So have those markings led to dilute disparity of the lines them when you're playing in that ball?
No, not really. No, I
Not
mean,
re-
I guess we go on so accustomed to
But the
it.
referees,
Yeah, but we've grown accustomed to it now. But when that first happened, it was a problem. It was a problem.
what I find strange is that if I take my sons to the netball court to watch and they ask me what the score is, there's nothing to show me what the score is. Somebody scoring in a book can't help me, the
See.
spectator.
Right. And it's interesting you bring up that because we actually had a situation recently like that in this tournament just concluded where our team would have beat the Newtown team by 5 goals. But the book is saying that we lost by 3 goals, and there was no score for persons to see. The game was streamed live. The spectators in the stand can't see the game, the score, but there was a commentator calling out the score. And even with that helping, trying to assist with persons knowing what the score was, that still wasn't enough,
But how correct he would have been. He was concentrating to that extent that you can superimpose the actual score with what he was saying. He had a book marking down things.
I don't know what he was
So
using.
where are these coaching that we used to have
Yeah,
and somebody up there scoring?
Right.
Keith and them
Right.
guys from Newton up there scoring.
They're still there, but persons just not going down to school. But we have advanced far enough to have an electronic clock, an electronic scoreboard.
But if
But
you can manage a flip-flop scoreboard,
Right.
how you
Yeah.
going to manage the electronic?
right,
Who
and
going
that,
to take care of it?
that just goes to show the interest. It's just, a netball game is being played, and we get the bare minimum.
But what about the facilities, though? Do they have a facility manager? Do you
For the pa-
the goal post, the wing itself must have a cord in it, a string, a net, so
It
to
must
speak?
be it must have a net at the top of the ring, and the pole itself must be padded. I think each tournament there's supposed to be a games coordinator who's supposed to check for these things. But if you're gonna go to the wider outlook of things, I mean, to this day, persons still have to, hide over to change their clothes and so on. I mean, the girls need the locker rooms. There's enough facilities, enough rooms at the park, but they're being used for storage and other things. So I guess it just goes to show, well, it's just netball. Some
So
girls
me
up there
got to
playing
walk
netball.
with sheet and you hold it, while you change. No, that can't
So-
be right, man. That can't be right. So with the association,
It's there.
no, that
And
can't
like
be
I
right.
said, netball is like a multi-purpose center now. Everything is being played in the park. The park is being used for all kind of things. CPL is coming up, so it's going to be used for storage and other things. So
And some persons would go out there in the concrete to hit balls too. Because cricketers like to know that they're there. If some other person's out in the net by Len Harris Cricket Academy area, some people go into, so nobody got like possession of a key. It's just open. Anybody could walk and go over there. The doors, the gate, them, they be open.
whoever is in charge of the park and doing that would have a key. But most times it's open to just walk into the park, walk into the netball city.
You know, vandalism has played a great role in pulling back a lot of sports. The Garden, when they had the chairs them down there, everything was looking nice, Kim Collins Stadium, this, that. Now you have seat, no back no seat. How has the facility at Netball City kept pace with not being vandalized? They have seating, benches they have. I haven't
Yes,
been
they-
there for a while, I got to admit that.
Yeah, it's the long-term setup.
long
The
time.
wooden, the board on the concrete. So I guess that's a bit more difficult to vandalize. But things like lights in the stands, so
Fixtures,
those,
lighting,
yeah, those have been knocked out sometimes.
But the games are played in the night,
Yeah.
floodlight,
Yeah,
good
flood-
quality,
Yeah, good quality.
good resolution. When someone is giving commentary on a netball game, could the players hear the commentator, or is the commentator in a room that is soundproof and only the persons who are trying to target via the radio could?
This tournament, they had the person talking and the players could hear, but I don't think that is the correct thing. I'm not sure if that's part of the rules, but growing up for playing netball, it almost shared the same rules as tennis, where you couldn't have that kind of loud noise going on. I don't know if someone spoke to them as the tournament progressed, and then no, they just had only the persons viewing online could be able to hear the commentary.
If you're having a fun day, you know, that kind of commentary is all
Right.
right. They could hear you.
Right.
Persons like John Samuel would have been of good service to netball. Did you see him around netball this year?
I don't know which John Samuel.
Deputy head teacher for Bastia High. He was always around commentating. He commentates cricket, football. No?
Victor Eddy did the
Victor Eddy.
did most of the commentary for the netball.
For the netball.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's he was on the show with me about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So what do you think is the most immediate step in reviving the netball? But by the way, the tournament results would have been resolved. You would have accepted the outcome, or there's still things pending with respect to
There's
the
still
outcome?
things pending because we haven't accepted the outcome as yet. Because it's difficult to hear, well, you won, but you lose. So that's something that we
And
still...
the
looking into.
injunction was taken out or attempted to be taken out to put a halt on the declaration of a winner, no injunction. Because if you're having things to the contrary, you just cannot accept it.
Right.
If you have evidence, a preponderance of evidence to the contrary, you have to pursue measures. You just can't let them like that. You put in your hard work, your time, your
Right.
energy, and it
Right.
just cannot go like that. Maybe they might have to declare the outcome null and void
Right.
for 2023.
And that has been our stance. I mean, in the light of evidence, you can't say, well, although you won, you lose. It just cannot go down like that.
Like me and you flipping a coin. Heads you win, tails I lose. Is there any way I gotta lose? Yes. So what are
So I
you?
think-
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the first thing, like I mentioned, we need to really come together as a sport, everybody, and we sit down and put together a proper strategy and attach the costing to this strategy. And then we approach government and private institutions.
Budget.
Right.
But isn't there an association with the secretaries and
Yes.
accountant and treasurer? Where is there somewhere I can go and read the intentions for the rest of the netballing year? No?
I wish I could say yes, but no. No. There is no calendar of events given to the players. There is no, statement of intent or anything like that given to the players. So
When the association has to spend money, as far as you can recall, how many signatures must be on a check? Because I don't believe they got liquid cash in their pocket.
I think it's two.
Two?
Yeah. The treasurer and the president, or the treasurer and the vice president. I think that's how it's set up.
So where are they getting money from to write checks? Bounce checks?
From the league, when they do
the
like this,
volume of persons though.
right? But they still have to bank something from from the proceeds from the bar and the gate. When the sponsor does give monies for the tournament, it will go into the netball account.
So we actually had sponsors for this
Yes,
year?
we had First Federal was the
First
sponsor.
Federal?
Yeah, National Bank has been the sponsor for several years, but for the past 2 to 3 years, First Federal has been sponsoring the netball.
Wow, that's good. At least they have. And they have handing over of check ceremony. Well, if you have that, you have to have a statement of affairs, and you have to have an income statement to know you raise funds, you do this, you do that.
Right.
You had a net profit and net loss. We're going to take this, we're going to reserve this, and we're going to put some money back into the netball and fix up the scoreboard, fix up whatever you have to fix up. They just shed over the netballer's head when they're waiting, like on the sideline.
Right. We don't even have
No shed?
those. No. Usually we are given treasurer's reports at our AGM, and then is when we have the opportunity to to question, to scrutinize, and raise any concerns that we have.
How I want to ask a foolish question. I hope my students not listening. How frequent is the annual general meeting? Is it bi-yearly, like every 2 years, or twice per year? Is it annually, once per year?
Honestly,
Is there a
because
constitution, by the way?
yes, there's one that really needs to be revised. Honestly, I can't. I know there have been some revision in terms of the meeting, but because I know we have not been following it, I have kind of given up on keeping track.
How can you pull everybody together and then we start to move not only for the purpose of harmonization, but move in unison, everybody moving together for the same purpose? Not some over there harmonizing, some over there and hoping that we can eventually harmonize. We need to move in unison.
Right. We need to establish clearly what the goal is, what we are trying to achieve, and everybody need to be on that same mindset. That's the only way we can bring everybody together. I'm sure that is what happened in 73, 78. The under-23 won the tournament in 2009 and 2011, and that was a big thing. We all shared the same goal. We want to win. Whatever it takes, this is what we're aiming towards.
You went to Dominica with the team?
No, he didn't go.
Which team went to Dominica?
This was the senior national team.
Senior? How on the schedule, how much advance notice is given to a particular age group team that would be taking part in tournaments for us. How the tournament starts in April.
Right.
You're coaching, you're part of a team. Do you have this thing in advance sufficiently well that you can prepare and try to get some players on the team? How much advance notice is given? Is it structured at the beginning?
How it's supposed to be. And for any coach to really be serious or any team to be serious, you need a proper 6 months before a tournament to be training. What used to happen, or what's supposed to happen, is the team, the squad, the national squad for training is selected from the tournament previous. So where you have a tournament is going to be played in June, July of the following year. By the end of the tournament that was held April, finishing mid-June, thereabout, you already know who your squad is. And then by the January the following year, you already start training.
But they must have some flexibility to include one or two persons who might shine considerably and not included in the squad. Is there any rule that you have to have taken part in the league for you to make the national?
Yes.
Even if you were aware on study duties?
I know exceptions have been made for persons in that particular category for studying. Persons who would have, like for example, I can give, like we had 2 persons who went off to study, and the petition for them was that they're still actively playing because they actually were on basketball scholarships, so they're still keeping fit, and they have an interest in returning home to play for the national team. They've played before, so that exception was given to them. But I'm not certain what would happen. No, we have players who have migrated who are still interested in playing. I don't know if any leniency will be given to them, but that's how it is. It's funny about that, because I remember that year, that one particular individual, she was always studying and she was on a basketball scholarship. And some of the persons, and she played nationals before, she's interested in returning home to play for her country. And they said, no, she didn't play in the tournament. But how could she play in the tournament? She's not here. And I remember the argument brought up, which tournament back home Lionel Messi played or whatever. But if Argentina is playing, you're going for your best players.
We were tournament, the footballers in England with national connection. Or tournament they played in.
Yes,
so you don't believe we might have some persons out there with national connection who might want to play netball, forward,
I'm sure.
local team?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
There's a possibility. They might be in Australia, they might be in England, mostly England.
Right.
Is there provision for that sort of thing, just like what the football is doing?
No, and that is an avenue we really need to look into.
Yeah, because then they might be exposed to a higher level of coaching up there, and they might be willing, they might not be able to make the England team.
Right.
But they could more than twice be likely to make the local team. And if you can start out with them plus,
right.
And then now they'll have to make provision for them to come and practice as a team. You see what's going on? So finance is necessary.
Yeah, and I can tell you, it's very heartbreaking. Sit down, every 4 years, watch the World Cup, and you're seeing the players that you played under 16 with. Like for the under 16 that we played, Jamaica came first, St. Kitts came second. At the end of the tournament, they select the top 16 players, and for the 2 tournaments that we had, there was myself, Nilsa Als, Talisa Brown. Those 3 were among the 12 from the entire tournament that got selected, and it's a Caribbean tournament, a Caribbean junior tournament. So you sit down and you see the Jamaica team and you're seeing the girls that became second to them, and you're watching them on the tele. It's heartbreaking. You're happy for them, but at one point you were good enough to come second to them, but you can't even make it to play a World Cup.
Well, I'm going to give you the opportunity to make a special appeal to pertinent stakeholders. I wouldn't say government, I would say pertinent stakeholders, to provide a catalyst, provide a platform so that netball can catapult to the next level.
Okay. I'm asking our stakeholders, our private institutions, any little that you can give to come on stream, to come on board with the netball, because it's a bit demotivating. Each year, just playing, you have no focus, no way of going forward, and everybody is playing a sport to get to the next level. If you're not playing to be on the international stage, then, you're just playing to burn calories. You're just there for fun. And that has always been the main aim. We need to get out there. We need to get some of our girls to become professional netballers, to put St. Kitts out there. But the only way we can do that is if we attend tournaments. And you can't get better by just playing among yourselves here in St. Kitts. So we really need the support. We really need to get serious with netball. We need the funding. We need the support. We need persons who have contributed from the 73, 78 teams who have the know-how in how to win tournaments. We need everybody on board just to come around the girls, come around netball, and let us really make a concerted effort to try and get a team to the World Cup.
And there could be advisors.
Advisors as well,
This
yes.
is the season
yes.
of a lot of advisors.
Yes.
And this kind of advice this advice would go a long way in effectuating some outcome. This is one that can be measured based on what we do. Well, we would have had it. It's 10 o'clock, 2 minutes past 2, 2 minutes past 10, and I apologize for going 2 minutes over time. But we hope that it was informative, instructive, and we're hoping that the information did not fall on deaf ears or fell on ears that still will continue to be stoic and indifferent about the development of netball, because we need an avenue to channel this effort and talent and to transform those raw material into something that can make St. Kitts Nevis proud. Thank you.
The opinions and statements made by the host and participants in this program are not those of the owners, advertisers, and management company of Sugar City FM 90.3. Nor are such statements necessarily supported or endorsed by the owners, managers, or advertisers of this station. While we encourage all to share their opinions, we do not support any comments that may slander, discriminate, or otherwise offend anyone, and we insist that you refrain from any such statements.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar City 90.3 for Fear No Favor.
Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to sugarcityfmsankits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m.